My mom took the microphone at my sister's engagement party and tapped it twice, like she owned the room, like she'd been waiting for this moment all evening. She smiled at the crowd. 40 people, family, friends, people who respected her. "I'm so blessed to have 2 daughters," she announced warmly. People clapped, glasses clinked, someone whistled, then her mouth tilted. That specific smirk I'd known my whole life. The one that meant something sharp was coming. One successful. She glanced at my sister. And one shameful. A few laughs popped out. Uncertain. Nervous. Like people didn't know if they were supposed to find it funny. My sister's cheeks flushed with a mixture of pride and discomfort at the exact same time. My face went cold. I stared at the carpet because looking up felt like drowning. Mom's eyes locked on mine. She was watching, waiting, seeing if I'd break right there in front of everyone. I swallowed hard, forced a tiny smile that felt like glass on my face. But deep inside, past the humiliation, something went perfectly still. Not broken, not destroyed, still. Because I didn't just feel embarrassed, I felt chosen as her target. And I was done being chosen. My name is Veda Knox. My mother's been narrating my life like it's a warning label since I was a teenager. In the engagement party bathroom, I gripped the edge of the sink until my knuckles turned white. Tried not to cry, because if I cried, she won. She always won when I cried. I could still hear it, the mic crackle, the laughter, the way she said shameful like it tasted sweet in her mouth. My phone buzzed. A text from my cousin. She didn't mean it like that, lol. That was the family's favorite lie. She didn't mean it. She was joking. You're too sensitive. I breathed slowly, straightened up, looked at my reflection. I walked back out to the party. Head up, face neutral. My mom intercepted me halfway. Her voice soft as honey now. "See, you survived. Now be pleasant and enjoy the evening." She smiled, squeezed my arm, like she expected me to be grateful, like she'd done me a favor by not finishing me off completely in front of everyone. I smiled back, said nothing, but something had shifted in me. Something that wouldn't shift back. My best friend Tamsin drove me home because my hands were shaking too badly. I stared out the window the entire ride, replaying the word. Shameful. Shameful, like it was carved into me now. Like she'd branded it onto my skin in front of witnesses. Tamsin kept quiet for a while, then she said, "That was abuse, Veda." The word abuse made my throat tighten. "It's just how she is," I whispered. Tamsin hit the brakes at a red light, turned and looked directly at me. "No," she said, "it's how she chooses." I didn't respond, just watched the streetlights blur past. At home, I made the mistake of opening social media. Someone had posted a video clip from the party, my mom giving the toast. The caption said, "Auntie is hilarious. 47 likes already." I watched myself on the small screen, standing there, forced smile, eyes down. My humiliation had become someone's entertainment. I screenshot the video, saved it. Then I opened a new folder in my phone, named it Mike. My sister Marin called late that night. Her voice was tight and defensive before I even said hello. "I didn't know she was going to say that," she said quickly, like she was defending herself from her own guilt. "Okay," I said. "Seriously, Veda, I would have stopped her. I wanted to believe that. I really wanted to." Then she added, voice softer, "You know how she gets when she has a microphone. She just loves the attention." I laughed once, short, dry, bitter. "So we just let her? Every time." Marin went quiet. Then she whispered, "Please don't make this a big thing. Please. She'll punish both of us if you push back." Both of us. The words landed heavy, because that sentence told me everything. Marin wasn't defending Mom. She was scared of her. She wasn't free. She wasn't favored because she was loved more. She was favored because she'd learned to stay quiet. She was safe because she'd agreed to the arrangement. And I was shameful because I hadn't. Mom texted me the next morning like nothing had happened. "Wear something nicer when you come by this weekend. People notice." My stomach flipped. No apology, no acknowledgement, just criticism. Moving forward like a machine. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, "Don't be immature about last night." 10 minutes after that, I was joking. "You're too sensitive." That one hit differently, because it was the exact script she always used. Hurt me. Then blame me for bleeding. I stared at my phone, then typed one sentence. "Please don't speak about me that way in public again." The 3 dots appeared immediately. Then her reply came. "So now you're attacking me?" My hands went cold. I read it 3 times. She didn't hear a boundary. She heard rebellion. To her, asking to be treated with dignity was an act of aggression. I screenshot the entire thread, added it to the mic folder. Then I sat down and made a decision. I wasn't going to explode, wasn't going to cry, wasn't going to beg her to understand. I was going to document. And wait. Sunday brunch at my aunt's house, the whole family. Casual, supposed to be comfortable. I sat there while relatives acted like nothing had happened, like the video with 47 likes didn't exist. An aunt squeezed my shoulder. Your mother's proud of you in her own way, sweetheart. Proud. Like humiliation was a language of love I just hadn't learned to translate yet. I smiled until my cheeks hurt. Later from the kitchen I heard Mom talking to someone in her smooth, concerned voice. Veda's been going through some issues lately. We're really supporting her through it. I froze by the doorway. Supporting. She said it like she was carrying me on her back while people watched and admired her strength. I stepped into the doorway, looked right at her. She saw me, didn't flinch, kept smiling, kept talking, because she wasn't embarrassed to be caught. She wanted witnesses. The performance only worked if people were watching. I turned around and walked back to my seat. Added that moment to my mental file. 3 weeks after the party, my phone rang. A recruiter I'd been working with. I'd applied for a position I'd wanted for months. Real salary, benefits, a fresh start that had nothing to do with my family. I hadn't told Mom, hadn't told anyone in the family. I wanted one thing that wasn't filtered through her opinion. The interview had gone well. I was expecting good news. The recruiter's voice was apologetic when she said hello. Veda, I want to be upfront with you. We received an anonymous message raising concerns about your reliability. My stomach dropped so hard the room tilted. Reliability, I repeated. The wording was very personal, detailed. It mentioned your family background. I whispered, who sent it? The recruiter hesitated. It came through a community email. But the details, they were very specific. I already knew. My mother had interfered with my job. I kept my voice steady. Thank you for telling me. I hung up, sat on my kitchen floor, then I opened the mic folder, started adding everything. I confronted Mom the next day, carefully. Calm voice, polite words, like I was handling something that could explode if I wasn't careful. Did you contact my recruiter? She gasped, theatrical. Hand over her chest. No. Why would I do that? Then, too quickly, she added, I was only trying to protect you. In case you weren't ready and embarrassed yourself. Protect. Ready. Her favorite words when she wanted to imply I was fragile. Don't interfere with my work, I said quietly. That's all I'm asking. Her eyes hardened. The warmth dropped out of her face completely. Don't speak to me like I'm the villain in your story, Veda. I looked at her. She wasn't denying it. She was just offended that I'd noticed. That night, Tamsin helped me draft a clear email to the recruiter. Professional, factual, providing solid references and clarification. Then I screenshot every message from my mother over the past 3 weeks, organized by date, labeled clearly. The MIC folder was growing. My cousin Oriana pulled me aside at a family gathering 2 weeks later. She looked uncomfortable, like she was deciding whether telling me was kind or cruel. Hey, I need to tell you something. What is it? Last month, your mom reached out to me. She said you were really struggling financially and too embarrassed to ask for help yourself. Oriana paused. She asked me for money, for you. The room felt like it tilted. For me, I repeated. Oriana nodded. She made it sound urgent, said you needed help with bills. How much did you give her? Oriana told me the number. It wasn't small. I felt sick. My chest squeezed so tight I could barely breathe. I hadn't asked my mother for money in years. Not once. I went home and combed through my bank account history, every transaction, every deposit, nothing, not $1. My mother had collected money in my name and given none of it to me. I met Marin for coffee the following Tuesday. Asked carefully, has Mom ever asked you for money? Saying it was for me? Marin's eyes went wide. She looked around the coffee shop, like someone might be listening. Yes, Marin admitted, voice barely above a whisper. A couple of times. My hands went numb around my cup. Did you give it? Marin nodded, ashamed. She said you'd pay it back when you got on your feet, when you got stable. Stable. Mom's word for me. The one that implied I was constantly on the edge of collapse. Marin. My voice cracked slightly. I never received that money. The color drained completely from Marin's face. She set her cup down. looked at me, eyes wide and horrified. What? None of it. The silence between us stretched long and terrible. Then Marin's expression changed, moved from confusion to understanding to something like grief. She whispered, "She's not just humiliating you." "No," I said. "She's profiting from it." Mom invited me to lunch with her friend group the following week. Women who adored her devoted mother image, who thought she was selfless. She brought up my hard times in the first 15 minutes. Casually, like it was light conversation. "We're just so proud of Veda for trying," she said warmly, smiling at her friends. Trying. Like I was a struggling student who hadn't quite grasped the material yet. One of her friends reached over and patted my hand. "Bless your heart, sweetie." I felt my face burn. Mom watched me, that smirk hovering, daring me to correct her. I didn't. I excused myself to the restroom instead, stood at the mirror, looked at myself for a long moment, said quietly to my own reflection, "You are not shameful." And something changed in that moment. I believed myself, more than I believed her. For the first time in my life, my own voice was louder than hers inside my head. It was small, but it was real. Oriana sent me screenshots, my mom's messages to her, the donation requests, full conversations, detailed stories about my struggles that weren't true. My mom had described me crying at her kitchen table, begging for help. It never happened. Marin sent screenshots next. Her hands were shaking, she said when she typed the message to me. I opened a second folder, named it Asks, organized everything by date, person, and amount. That night, Mom called. Cheerful, warm, completely unaware. "I'm planning a small community fundraiser," she said, "to support local women going through difficult times. I want you there. People love a comeback story." My stomach twisted. She was going to use me again, publicly. For applause. "No," I said softly. Silence. Then her voice dropped. "You owe me, Veda." I stared at my ceiling. The mic comment hadn't been the beginning. It had been the announcement, an announcement of a war she'd been fighting against me for years, one I'd never agreed to enter. I stopped by Mom's house to pick up some mail I'd been expecting. She didn't hear me come in. The front door was unlocked. From the living room, I heard her voice. Speakerphone, laughing with a friend. "Honestly, it's just easier this way," she was saying. "People donate more when they think she's a complete mess." I froze in the hallway. "And Marin feels guilty about being the successful one, so she pays without asking questions," Mom continued, amused, light, like she was describing a clever strategy. Her friend laughed. "Does Veda know any of this?" Mom laughed back. "Of course not. She'd make everything dramatic." I stood in the hallway, my whole body buzzing, heart slamming against my ribs. This was me she was describing, my pain, my struggles, packaged and sold to fund her image. I backed away slowly, silent, careful. Left the house without picking up my mail. Sat in my car outside and opened my phone. Opened the voice recorder app. Started thinking about next steps. I put on my calm mask, wore it daily, polite texts to Mom, friendly responses, normal dinners with the family. I let her think everything was fine. Let her feel comfortable. In control. People reveal more when they believe you're harmless. Meanwhile, I won back the recruiter's trust, brought strong references, addressed the anonymous concern professionally. The process moved forward again. Tamsin and I worked evenings organizing everything we had. Screenshots sorted by date, dollar amounts highlighted, witness names documented. A clean, clear timeline. Marin started texting me late at night. "I can't sleep. I feel sick thinking about it. How long has she been doing this?" The favored daughter was waking up, realizing what being favored had actually cost. She'd been kept comfortable, kept loyal, kept quiet, by guilt, by fear. By a mother who treated both daughters as tools, just different kinds. I texted Marin back every time. "Rest, we'll talk when you're ready. You don't have to decide anything yet. I'm not going anywhere." Mom called 3 times in one afternoon. When I didn't answer, she appeared at my apartment door. Blazer. Perfect hair. That smile stretched too wide. "Are you ignoring me?" "I've been busy," I said. She stepped slightly into the doorframe, not fully inside, but close enough to make me feel the pressure. "Busy with what? Your little job thing?" "Little." My stomach tightened. She scanned my face like she was searching for something. A crack, a soft spot to push on, then her voice dropped lower. Quiet, controlled. "If you try to embarrass me, I'll tell people what you were really like back then. The full story." threatening my past like it was a loaded weapon she kept in her pocket. I held her gaze. Why do you hate me? Something moved across her face. Then her smile came back. I don't hate you. I just won't let you ruin what this family has built. She left. I closed the door, leaned against it. In her mind, I wasn't a daughter. I was a liability. Marin called me from her car, crying so hard I could barely understand her at first. She's furious, Marin managed. She knows we've been talking. She says you're trying to turn me against her. Marin, are you safe? Yes, she threatened me. My chest went cold. What did she say? She said if I don't stop having private conversations with you, she'll tell people things about my fiancé, spread rumors, damage his reputation. I closed my eyes. She threatened your relationship. Yes. Marin's voice broke. Veda, I feel completely trapped. I always thought I was free because she chose me. But I'm just trapped differently than you. I sat down on my kitchen floor. This was bigger than me now. Mom wasn't just weaponizing my struggle. She was threatening anyone who got close enough to the truth. I said quietly but clearly, Marin, I'm gonna stop this, but I need to know. Will you stand with me when it matters? Long silence. Yes, Marin whispered. Tell me what to do. I was scrolling through social media when the post appeared. A colorful flyer. My mom's community fundraiser announcement. An evening celebrating women's resilience and strength. And directly beneath, in bold letters, special story, Veda Knox, from shame to strength. My lungs seized. She had put my name on a public fundraiser, had made my humiliation the centerpiece of her charity event. Comments poured in immediately. Hearts, praise. What a wonderful mother. You're an inspiration. Links for donations. My coworker messaged, is this real? Are you okay? I called Mom immediately. She answered warm and delighted. Isn't it wonderful? The response is incredible. People are really connecting with your story. Take it down. No, Veda. The donations are already coming in. I did not give you permission. You're my daughter. I don't need permission. I hung up. She was not going to stop on her own. She would never stop on her own, which meant I needed to make her stop. Tamsin and I drafted the message carefully. Professional. Factual. No emotion. I sent it to Mom through email. Clean and documented. Demanded immediate removal of my name and image from all fundraising materials. Cited my right to privacy. Named it as unauthorized use of my personal story for financial gain. Mom replied within 4 minutes. You think you're smart now? You'll always be the shameful one no matter what you do. I read it once, felt the familiar sting. Then I felt something steadier underneath it, because she'd put it in writing. That sentence, that threat, that admission of how she truly saw me. I forwarded it to Tamsin, to myself, to a secure backup drive. Then she called, screaming at first, then switching mid-sentence to sobbing. I stayed quiet, let her perform, because the performance itself was the proof. Every threat, every pivot, every dramatic shift, documented. She could feel it now. Control slipping. Like sand between fingers she couldn't close tight enough. The family gathering 2 weeks later was tense from the moment I walked in. People could feel something coming. Didn't know what. Mom waited until we were in the living room with most of the family present. Then she looked at me. Raised her voice just enough for everyone to hear. Why are you attacking me, Veda? After everything I've done for you? Faces turned. Watching. Waiting. She was performing. Playing the wounded mother, eyes glistening perfectly. Relatives looked at me like I was kicking a puppy. I kept my voice quiet, steady. I asked you not to use my name to collect money without my knowledge or consent. Gasps. Confusion. Mom straightened. I did it for you. Everything I do is for you. Then Marin's voice cut through from across the room, shaking but clear. No, you did it to look like a good mother. There's a difference. The room went completely still. Mom's face changed. The grief mask cracked. Raw anger flashed through. She pointed at Marin. After everything, Marin whispered, that's not love. And I watched the family's illusion begin to wobble. Mom doubled down publicly. Posted a long caption online about a mother's sacrifice and ungrateful children who don't understand love. 600 comments. Hearts. Encouragement. You deserve better. Stay strong. She thrived on it. Lived in it. 2 days later, she announced at her church that she'd be speaking at the fundraiser, sharing her testimony about raising 2 daughters through impossible circumstances. The mic again. My stomach tightened. But this time I felt something different alongside the dread. I was ready. Tamsin helped me assemble everything into a clean packet. Screenshots, donation requests, exact amounts, witness statements, dates. I asked Marin, "Will you stand beside me when the time comes?" She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I spent my whole life being the successful one. But successful at what? At watching her treat you like this?" Her voice broke slightly. "I'm tired of being the good daughter if it costs you being the shameful one. I'm done. Tell me where to stand." That sentence broke my heart open and rebuilt something inside it at the same time. The allies arrived quietly, one at a time. Oriana agreed to speak publicly, if needed. Pulled her original donation record to show she'd given money she believed was for me. 2 other relatives came forward privately. Both had received similar requests from Mom. Similar stories about my desperate situation, similar amounts. Even one of Mom's own friends messaged me. Uncomfortable, uncertain. I didn't understand what was actually happening. I feel terrible. The foundation was shifting, not because I was loud, not because I'd gone on the attack, but because the facts were simple, clear, documented, consistent. Then the call I'd been waiting for arrived. The job. I got it. I sat down on my kitchen floor and cried. Quiet, shaking, because something good had finally happened that was completely mine. I didn't post it, didn't announce it, didn't tell anyone in the family, just breathed. Then I looked at my calendar. The fundraiser was next Saturday. The real test was 1 week away. I was ready. The fundraiser venue was bright, decorated with flowers and motivational banners. Volunteers moved chairs. A sound technician tested the microphone at the front podium. Mom was in her element. Blazer, perfect hair, moving through the room like she'd organized something genuinely important. When she saw me walk in, her smile stretched wide, too wide. "There's my girl," she announced, loud enough for nearby people to turn. Marin stood beside me. Steady, calm. Mom floated toward us, leaned in close enough that only we could hear. "Don't ruin this, Veda. Whatever you think you're doing, there are important people here tonight." I looked at her calmly. "Good." She blinked. My calm confused her. She'd been expecting emotion, tears or anger she could use. Not this. The host's voice carried from the front. "Please welcome our organizer and tonight's special speaker." Mom straightened, adjusted her blazer, walked toward the stage like the spotlight had been waiting for her all her life. Mom took the microphone, started her familiar speech. The devoted mother, the struggles, the sacrifices. Then she smiled at the room, said the words I'd been waiting for. "I am blessed with 2 daughters, one successful and one." She paused. That smirk, shameful. The room shifted this time. No nervous laughs, just discomfort. People had seen the flyer, had heard things. From the side aisle, Marin raised her hand. The host looked startled but nodded. Marin's voice carried clearly. "I'm her successful daughter, and I need to correct something right now." Mom's smile froze solid. Marin looked directly at our mother and said, shaking but steady, "My sister is not shameful. The shame belongs to using her pain to collect money from people who love us." A murmur rippled through the room like a wave. Mom laughed, light, dismissive. "Honey, this isn't the time." "It is," Marin said. "It's exactly the time." The host turned to me. "Do you have documentation?" I stepped forward, opened my folder. Mom's eyes locked onto it. Pure panic broke through. I didn't raise my voice. Handed the packet to the host and said clearly, "These are screenshots of donation requests made in my name, amounts given by family members, and text messages where my mother acknowledges collecting money because it works." The host flipped through the first pages. Face tightening. People leaned in, craning, straining to understand. Someone in the back gasped. Mom's voice shot up. "She's lying. She's trying to humiliate me publicly." Then Oriana stood from her seat. "She asked me for money for Veda. I have the messages." Another relative stood. "Me too, $200. Another, $350. The sound in the room changed completely, like a spell breaking, like everyone waking up at the same moment. Mom grabbed for the microphone. "I did everything for this family. Everything." Marin said quietly, "You did it for applause." The fundraiser committee board members exchanged looks, moved toward the stage, calmly removed the microphone from Mom's grip. She stood there, without the mic, without the performance, without the power, still insisting she was the victim. But for the first time in my life, nobody rushed forward to comfort her. Afterward, people came to me, quietly, awkwardly, sincerely. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. She had us all fooled. The fundraiser committee announced they would return all disputed donations, implement new oversight, launch a review. Mom's social media went quiet overnight. Family group chats split. Some relatives chose silence, some chose honesty. But the loudest voices weren't in charge anymore. Marin found her own boundaries, moved out of Mom's orbit slowly, deliberately. Our relationship rebuilt itself from the beginning. Honest this time. No ranking system, no golden daughter. No shameful one. Just sisters. I started my new job the following Monday, showed up quietly, did the work, earned the trust, kept my life private. Not because I was ashamed, because it was finally mine. Months later, I was at a small family event when someone offered Mom a microphone to give a toast. She hesitated. She actually hesitated, looked around the room, uncertain for the first time I'd ever witnessed. The mic had always been her weapon, her stage, her control. Now it felt like evidence. I watched her set it down, and I understood the real victory. Not humiliating her the way she'd humiliated me, just making the room see clearly enough that she could never use a microphone like a knife again. I stopped being her shameful daughter that night, and started belonging to myself.